Good morning, everyone, and thank you for having us. My name is Ambrose. I'm joined by Fabi, Caitlyn, and Sean. We are the QUT Best Centre team. And today we will share with you our contact ready nudge, being ready today for the biohazards of tomorrow. We started by examining the problem landscape. What are the difficulties incurred in terms of the threats? What are the cultural norms and perceptions, and what are the perceived costs? We asked the question, why aren't farmers planning for biosecurity risks? The behavioural insights we found from this were information asymmetry, low trust in government, false perception of the real risk, negative cultural attitudes, loss aversion, bounded rationality, and present biases. All of these we examined very thoroughly. We then decided to collect primary data through surveying 15 Australian farmers. The data we found showed that these farmers in particular, all of whom were ready and willing and interested in biosecurity and learning more, reported 75%, so a majority reported that they were not confident in their own biosecurity practices, and they were low in awareness of current biosecurity practices. We have three main goals for our nudge that we'll share with you. First, we would like to increase the rates of planning for biosecurity hazards. We would like to make a cultural and social shift around the perception of biosecurity and increase the trust in government information. From these goals, we've developed a criteria of 5 sections, 3 of which were very easily met. So we've primarily focused on the feasibility and the scalability of our nudge.
The Australian agricultural industry is incredibly varied, so we've decided to narrow our focus on cotton farmers in Queensland. 40% of Australian cotton is grown in Queensland, with most farms being family-owned and operated, with the average farmer being about 49 years old. Cotton is a 90% export crop, so we've concentrated on this industry because Australian cotton farmers have a predisposition to include biosecurity measures into their business practice, given that it gains them higher prices internationally as a recognisable disease and pest-free crop, as well as the younger demographic of farmers being more accessible in terms of implementing new measures and technologies.
So phase 1 of Contact Ready is Seasonal Growers Guide. This is a 2-page document that will be distributed to local agricultural locations, which include supply farms and agricultural conventions. We have done a printed form as we have realised that our target audience has a lack of technological infrastructure and education, and we want to make it as accessible as possible. Within this guide, we outline the threats that are apparent to the cotton farmers and the risks of those threats occurring. Furthermore, we wanted this to be a proactive guide, so we have provided plans in place that farmers can undertake to ensure that they mitigate the risks of biosecurity hazards occurring. Furthermore, we have included a community Q&A to ensure interactions within the community, as surveys have shown and research that farmers are more willing to trust their neighbour rather than governmental authorities. So to make sure that our phase and our nudge is feasible, we're implementing these sort of things. Furthermore, we are ensuring that there is a hotspot that those can contact, so if they have important inquiries, they can be addressed as quickly as possible. So the justification behind these nudge is we want to counter the present theory. So we want to ensure that those understand what is currently happening and how can they understand it. Furthermore, the informational asymmetry, we need to understand that there is an understanding between the growers and the experts. So if they understand what is going on through this guide, they're more likely to be prepared for their biosecurity risks. Furthermore, we will address bounded rationality through simplifying information and time. We understand that there is such a large range of information out there for farmers, so by simplifying it, they will not be overwhelmed. So this is a quick review of what our proof of concept would be. As you can see, we use visual aids as risk meters to provide a familiar frame of reference. Farmers are used to this as they're used in fire warnings, and so this is highly applicable for farmers. Furthermore, we've utilized color marketing. So the red displays caution, whereas opposed to the blue, it shows that reassurance to the farmers that whilst these hazards are real, there are measures in place that we can take to tackle and mitigate them. Furthermore, we've used slogans and concise and collective language to ensure that there is a unified response to this issue. And once again, the Dear Neighbour is the example of our community engagement aspect.
Phase 2 of our nudge would see farmers submitting their biosecurity checklists to become accredited as a contact-ready accredited farmer. This nudge is two-part in its approach, given that the accreditation would provide a visible marketing marker to buyers indicating that this farmer values biosecurity safety. Specifically within the cotton farming industry, a less risky product is appealing to international buyers, given that they would be more likely to engage a contact-ready accredited farmer. In the long run, this scheme aims to change the relationship between growers and biosecurity measures by reframing biosecurity planning as a worthwhile business strategy. As a bonus of this scheme, accredited farmers would gain access to peer and expert risk analysis data. We've got an example up here on the slide of what a farmer would be able to see in terms of comparing their own perception of a seasonal pest risk compared to their peers and expert opinions on that same risk. This feature aims to build familiarity and trust not only within the community, but with government bodies.
So at the heart of our solution is its feasibility and its scalability. Regarding the feasibility, the low-cost implementation of the Seasonal Growers Guide is a big draw. So we would look to amplify that by keeping numbers low in the amount of pamphlets we're handing out to these communities so that it's specific to the number of growers in that region so that we're limiting waste and we're limiting excess cost. Also looking at utilising the data already held by organisations so that we're not undertaking excessive data collection ventures when that data may already exist. Also looking at utilising hotlines to potentially offer a non-urgent service so that farmers feel less risk in approaching the urgent hotline because of that lack of trust. Regarding the accreditation, it's about trying to make that application process appealing and offering postal and digital application forms. Regarding scalability, the Growers Guide is malleable across industries, so it would be about fitting it across different contexts and implementing that accreditation into the form over time as growers get more accustomed. And then regarding the accreditation, it would be about expanding the utility of accreditation itself, and then from there, working with other industries to improve the accreditation specific to different contexts. So to wrap it up, the contact-ready solution improves the information asymmetry and the social norms, and the important part is through breaking down social and cultural norms and those information barriers, the farmers of today are more prepared for the hazards of tomorrow. Thank you very much.